Hi everyone, my name is David Mulligan and I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about trustworthy AI. So what exactly is trustworthy AI? AI is a complex topic with a ton of definitions. This definition is one I came up with based on the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST. They say that trustworthy AI is a transparent and dependable computer-based system that can be leveraged to perform human intelligence processes. NIST also defines trustworthy AI as having the following building blocks. First is accuracy. Obviously, producing accurate results is key in any analysis tool. Explainability is a big thing that sets trustworthy AI apart because it allows users to clearly understand the inner workings of a system. There's privacy. When dealing with such massive amounts of data that AI systems use, maintaining people's privacy is paramount. Reliability refers to the AI's ability to produce consistent and sensible results. Most AI applications have way too many variables for you to account for them all. Therefore, trustworthy AI must be robust, meaning the system can adapt to new variables when they're introduced. Next up, we have safety. Safety is obviously a huge concern, especially in fields like aerospace, where some of these decisions can mean life or death. Security also kind of goes in along with privacy and safety, just sort of making sure that data being used is protected from cyber attacks. And lastly, finding a way to mitigate biases is a great way to instill trust on an AI system. Now we'll move on and ask the question, why bother with trustworthy AI? What's the purpose? So let's consider an AI system with complex inputs, operations, and outputs, and we'll look at the difference between a trustworthy system and what I would consider an untrustworthy system. Looking at some of the building blocks we already talked about, explainability, a trustworthy system would clearly define their inputs and provide reasonings behind all the operations. An untrustworthy system would hide these inputs and operations in something called a black box, where you can see what the system's outputting, but you don't necessarily get to understand the inner workings of it. Moving on to privacy, a trustworthy system would use security measures to protect sensitive data, keep it safe, and an untrustworthy system would not have these security measures per se, which would leave the data vulnerable to cyber attacks. Lastly, we have bias mitigation. A trustworthy system would use a balance of diverse sources, which could mitigate biases and preconditions. An untrustworthy system would rely heavily on a few bias sources, which would obviously make it less objective. So lastly, why is this important? This is important because there are a vast number of applications that AI can be used for, and we need to make sure that we can trust it to do the job. So some general AI applications, this is coming from the House of Representatives. It analyzes massive amounts of data in fields such as weather prediction, cosmology, and genetics research. I'd also like to talk about an aerospace-specific application, and that is air traffic control in and around airports and in the airspace. So what an aerospace air traffic controller would do with AI is you can simultaneously monitor areas of concern, such as high traffic runways, taxi areas, etc. You can provide decision-making tools to avoid collisions between aircrafts, and you can ensure safe and timely takeoffs and landings, so getting people where they need to go when they need to be there. And obviously, these systems must be trustworthy because people's lives are at stake. And finally, these are my references. Thank you guys for listening.